Thanks so much for joining this episode, guys. We love making this stuff to bring all types of people together.
Yes, and we did do this topic in a previous Middle Ground episode, but due to your feedback, we chose to bring back this topic with teens and parents that do not know each other.
Also, if you want to be in a video, because I love reading your stories, fill out the casting form below. Enjoy.
One of the biggest things I believe in is you don't need a mother, you don't need a father, you need a parent.
My name is Anthony Cabasa. I have 3 children, and I'm a veteran, and I'm a parent, and I'm happy to be here.
My name is Cassandra Roy. I am a life coach, and I have 1 son, David Alexander, who is a full-time MFA student at Yale University on a full scholarship.
My name is Marissa Gold. I have 2 children. They're 13 and 10, and I also have a parenting company. I run social and emotional empowerment groups for tween and teen boys and girls.
I'm Elizabeth, I'm 18. Next year I'll be going to school to study nursing, and I have 2 dads and a brother.
My name is Adam, I'm 15 years old, and currently I'm working on starting my own clothing brand.
I'm Nooper. I am a computer science and engineering major at UC Irvine.
I feel too stressed.
The first source of stress in your life is probably your parents, something from your parents. And it kind of, with your parents' expectations, it kind of builds. At least for me, it did.
My parents immigrated from India, and so they went to college in India, and I'm a first generation Indian American. I did robotics, I did music, I did volunteering in high school, and I got into college. They were like, you should finish college in like 3 years. Like, yes, it's 4 years, but finish it earlier, save money, do a master's program. Finish master's early, try and do a PhD. Get a job while you're at it. I don't even think I would be in college if it wasn't for my parents, but the fear of disappointing my parents is terrifying. If I wanted to pursue something else, I would do it after college. I would do it after I got a job, I was stable, after I've fulfilled what I needed to fulfill for my parents.
It pains me to hear how stressed you already are, because I think as adults, like, we know, like, it doesn't end, you know? It's like, it just, like, it gets harder and harder. Like, unfortunately, like, life gets exciting and it goes in dips and waves and whatever, but
there's no alternative. You just keep going. There's no option to quit.
I felt like the last kid being chosen for the baseball team. Don't be too hard on your parents, because they're doing the best they can with the information that they have. And in terms of you, I would really strongly suggest that you sit down and have a conversation with them, because you may not understand this, but they know something's not settling with you.
My parents have tried talking to me. The walls are already there, and if you don't have the foundation, it's hard to start at a later age.
I have struggled to be honest with my family.
I mean, I was in the closet for 13 years, so that was one thing. It's almost like as soon as I came out of the closet, everything else did. I started being more open. I talked to more people. I learned how to express myself through art and through clothing, which I'm now doing.
For me personally, I have struggled with an eating disorder from the time I was 11 until just recently. I mean, you're always in recovery if you have an eating disorder. So much of that mental illness is lying and going behind people's backs. My parents had to sit outside of my shower at night to make sure I wasn't throwing up. They had to check in with my friends to make sure I was eating. All of these things, there was absolutely no trust, and I still couldn't feel like I could tell them anything because my mental illness wouldn't let me. I have worked so hard to regain all of my trust, and now my parents trust me to absolutely no end. They know I will tell them the truth in any circumstance.
In my family, we don't talk about mental illness or depression or anything like that. We don't talk about sex in my family. Saying the word sex in my house is like taboo. And slowly my dad has tried reaching out, but it's very like sublime. Like, he once told me in high school, hey, you should go into this body positivity workshop in school. Like, he could tell that I wasn't happy with the way I looked. I couldn't ever really come out to them about the fact that, oh, I had depression, oh, I'm going to see a therapist in college now.
I think for me, my struggle with being honest with my family is that growing up, I was Christian and everything was solved through prayer and reading the Bible. If you were depressed, prayer and Bible. If you wanted to have a girlfriend, hey, that's not allowed, prayer and Bible. My mom was a very fierce female individual in my life. Her motto has always been, your life is going to suck all the time. And if you set that baseline, then you'll never be disappointed because you always expect the worst. By growing up that way, I feel like maybe I'm a stronger individual, but that communication was never there and the honesty was definitely not there because there's things that I would do and I'm like, well, that's definitely not Christian-like, so I'm not gonna tell her that. What I hope to instill in my children, it's like, hey, no matter who you are, who you love, I'm not gonna be like my mom where she's like, no, you have to be this perfect inside of a box person.
Personally, I've gone through the same thing, but now I know that I can tell them absolutely anything. When I first started telling my parents that I was having sex, I was never met with, that's horrible, you need to stop, you're not a good person, none of that. The first response was always, thank you for telling us, let's, provide protection. Just in that scenario, I knew that I could be honest with my parents and absolutely anything moving forward, but it was hard to tell them that.
As an adult, as a wife and a parent, the truth was always the best weapon, for lack of a better word, to lead with. Because it cut down on hurt, it cut down on pain, it cut down on frustration. Have I always been honest? Of course not, I'm human. I like to think I've been honest about the stuff that was important, but I've learned that honesty is in fact the best policy, and it's just easier all around for me.
Social media can be very positive.
I honestly think that social media and the internet in general has probably been one of, if not the best thing in my life. Having no queer role models, seeing no artistic expression around me in the real world where I am, but discovering all of that through the internet.
I would not have found out I was asexual without the internet. I would not have known what asexuality was. I would not have even known that was a word. Because, at least in school and at home, we never talked about this.
I was a little bit okay, is it more positive than negative? But I think I'm gonna use to my own testimony, how it's been for me. I started a social media page under the alias conservative.latino. And I get a lot of hate mail and I get a lot of people calling me a race traitor, calling me, a fake this, a fake that. They call me names, they wish death upon my family and my children. And I see a lot of the profiles don't even have pictures. And then I go to their profiles, 0 followers, 0 posts, 0 nothing. And I'm just like, man, these people
You're just
really
on here to hate.
Yeah, exactly.
Some of them aren't even people, they're bots.
Yeah, exactly.
I used to play video games, and at some point, I actually decided to use my voice in a video game. And I am a female in the video game community, and there's a lot of masculine toxicity. Every single day, guys would hit on me. I was 15 years old, and these guys were 20, 30s. They would gift me games, ask to me out, and usually it was fine. I can always be no, and most of them were respectful. Sometimes it would escalate. They would threaten to find out where I live. They would threaten to rape me. The point when I realized I had to get away from all this is when someone threatened to rape me, and I actually got scared.
Yeah, and this is, couldn't be a better illustration of a parent's worst nightmare when it comes to social media, right? And how quickly it can escalate, and especially you were 15, which is pretty young, but there are kids, boys and girls, that this is happening to when they're 8, 9, 10. They have no idea how to handle it, and they don't know how to even talk to their parents about it because they innately feel that there's something off, but they also feel like they could get in trouble if they bring it to their parents.
And I'll be honest, my daughter has been asking me since she was 6, can I please start a YouTube channel? Can I, that's been her dream. But I go on these articles and I'm hearing about all this online bullying, and especially with females, I feel it's a larger thing because I was a youth pastor for my old church, and a lot of them would tell me that if they're on social media, they would be receiving illicit pictures from grown adults. So I'm scared, I'm terrified, but at the same time, I feel like I'm almost punishing my daughter.
When she does start to explore that, I would say don't take it away because that's gonna make her angry and she's gonna find a way to go on it anyways because there's so many access points for social media.
Yeah, that's why I'm just very concerned because as a social media influencer, I see what I get in my DMs and I see that type of content that people leave on and I would never want, because
It's probably part of why she wants to do it, because she sees her dad doing
Right,
it.
yeah,
So
she
you're
sees it,
modeling it.
yeah, exactly.
You know,
She's
I mean, the
like-
kids want to do what they see their parents doing
Exactly.
often.
Do any of the teens here feel that sometimes your parents are hypocrites for phone and social media usage?
I see more texting while driving in the parents' generations. They don't know about the technology. They'll be like, oh, I'm just gonna check this really quick. And that's what causes a lot of accidents.
My dad has a Velcro patch on his steering wheel and a Velcro on the steering wheel. I'm dead serious. It's really bad. He doesn't understand that you can leave people on red. Like you don't have to respond to people in the moment. If my parent texts,
I always just feel like I need to reply right then and there.
Yeah.
I'm just like, no.
The parent
Maybe it's
generation
like an
does,
OCD thing.
for
I don't
sure,
know.
more than, I see it all the time.
I wish my parents listened to me more.
There definitely are times that I remember growing up, and even now as an adult, where I feel like when my mom and I talk about things that she sometimes doesn't hear really, like I have to say something over and over and over and go back to it, and it's really hard for her sometimes to hear something because it's not what she wants to hear.
I'd have to say my father. He's what we call the weekend dad, right? Because that's when we could go visit him, was every other weekend. And growing up, he sat in front of the TV the entire time. And he wasn't a good listener. He wasn't someone that I ever felt that I could come to for anything, really. And he just feels like the world owes him everything. Sometimes he would call me literally as I'm in class, and I would text him and be like, hey, I can't talk right now, but this. He's like, how come you're always so busy? How come you never have time for me? It just got to the point where he was making me feel like complete garbage, and he would say hateful things to me. And I was like, you know what? Out of all your children, I'm the only one that still talks to you. And I am trying to do the best that I can. And no matter what, it was just never good enough for him.
I feel so fortunate to have the parents that I do. Anytime I approach them with a problem, I am heard, I am supported, and usually hugged. So growing up, I had so many people think that I was missing out on something because I didn't have a mom, and that I wouldn't be able to learn about what it is to be a woman or what it is to, have your period or whatnot. I had so many people approach me and be like, oh, well, I know you're missing a mother, but I'm always here if you want to talk. And I'm like, no, I can talk to my parents about that. One of the biggest things I believe in is you don't need a mother, you don't need a father, you need a parent.
My mother was also a single parent. She worked sometimes 2 jobs, but she was never too busy to talk to me. She was dead tired sometimes. So what we did was every Saturday we would hang out. We would clean the house first, get dressed, get lunch, and that was our time to talk. Whatever was on my mind, that was a good time to bring it up. So it let me know that I could talk to her. And that's what I've done with David. Every Saturday we had David's Day when he was growing up. So if he wanted to eat McDonald's 3 times a day, we tried to convince him for dinner to eat something else. But you get my point,
Yes.
that it allowed him to speak freely. It's important that we continue to encourage one another, because you will keep us young and we will be able to put some wisdom on you, and hopefully we will listen to each other.
I think that if everybody can just have moments where they just tell their parent that they love them, have an honest conversation, a supportive conversation from both sides, I think that we need more of that.
It was nice to meet you too. It was nice meeting you. You take care.
Thanks so much for joining, guys. We really loved revisiting this topic.
Yeah, and it makes you just wonder how, we were like as teenagers and our parents, right?
Don't remind me.
We are trying to revamp Middle Ground. If you guys have ideas of how to revamp Middle Ground, let us know, DM us, email us, comment below, and we love to hear from you guys all the time. As usual, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys around.